Hi, I'm Andrew Wiles, and this is Stuck. When I started researching wrongful convictions in Jamaica, I wanted to find out what others in the Caribbean had said or were saying about it. One of the first things I found was an article written by a lawyer in Trinidad. He wrote the article to the Trinidad and Tobago Newsday back in June 2020, making a case for reviewing criminal charges. In it, he shares a conversation he had with a friend. His friend, who, interestingly, is from Jamaica, called him to talk about Black Lives Matter. It was around that period where the news coming out of the US regularly showed incidences of police brutality. He says that it was just a few weeks before George Floyd, but she didn't call to talk to him about police brutality. She reached out to him because she was watching a Netflix series called The Innocence Files. The Innocence Files is a documentary series on wrongful convictions, and after she watched it, she was concerned and she reached out to him to talk to a friend to say, hey, what's happening on this in Jamaica, in the Caribbean? Her conversation with him impacted him so much that he decided to write about it. He said, many lives have been destroyed by police fabrication and prosecutorial non-disclosure of evidence. He talked about examples of wrongful convictions that had been overturned in the UK and the US. Then he asked, do you think there are any such deserving cases in Trinidad and Tobago? Again, can you honestly say that you believe that all people in our prisons are guilty as charged? The name of the attorney is Brent Winter. He speaks from a place of tremendous experience. He started his professional life as a prison officer. He then became an attorney and spent 10 years as a prosecutor. He's now in private practice and does criminal defense work. So this is my conversation with Brent Winter. I came across your writing because of a letter you wrote to the Newsday talking in 2020 where you were sharing a friend of yours from Jamaica had reached out to you because she was watching the Innocence Files on Netflix and she had this question about wrongful convictions, and you didn't just talk to your friend, you took the initiative to write to the newspaper and start a conversation in the country. And you said something that police can kill a man in more ways than by placing a knee on his neck, basically highlighting that there are types of violence that we may perhaps not even be considering. Why did you think it was important to write and to raise this issue in Trinidad?
My background as a prison officer has informed a lot of my perspective. I learned at a very early age in my career that not all persons who end up behind bars are necessarily guilty. And even those who may be guilty are sometimes guilty of making wrong or bad decisions in life and are not necessarily bad people. With that, when I moved on to prosecuting crime, I took that level of, I would say, maturity and conscience to my work. And I would notice certain practices that I felt were not nefarious. I always tried to bring that level of transparency and fairness to my professional work. And when my friend Abigail had reached out to me in 2020 at the height of the Black Lives Movement and so on, I considered our local jurisdiction. I mean, throughout the English-speaking Caribbean, crime is a hot-button topic. It's a political topic, a societal topic, and I felt that not sufficient attention was being paid to the possibility of a lot of persons being incarcerated who are wrongfully convicted. And I looked at the measures that we have in place, and I felt that they were so woefully inadequate that it would be prudent to consider having a body such as the Criminal Cases Review Committee in the UK, a similar institution to that in our jurisdiction. And I wanted to start that discourse with the article. And it did provide people provided a lot of feedback on it. to me. So that was the genesis of that.
You want to hear more of something that you think should be amplified, or if you have a personal experience, please go ahead and share it in the comments. You can find out more about Stuck at my website, andrewwiles.com/stuck. That's AndrewWildes.com/stuck. Hey, thanks for listening. Stuck is written and presented by me, Andrew Wiles. It is brought to you by The Wave on the Frequency Network. Subscribe to Stuck wherever you get your podcasts. You can read more about the project at andrewwiles.com. And if you found the conversation interesting or helpful, share it. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.